Hey everybody, welcome to the show. We had such a good time last week talking with Chris Harle that we asked him to stay on. Plus, we had some of that Wilson Creek almond sparkling wine left over, so we got to finish the bottle, right?
Thank you, Donkey Market.
Thank you, Brooke. I'm Karen. I'm a CPA, entrepreneur with big ideas, and I'm the mom.
I'm Cadie. I'm a payroll specialist, business owner, and detail-oriented person that makes things happen, and I'm the daughter. Welcome to Cheers to Business. Today, we have back in the studio for a second time Chris Harle, who is an entrepreneur, started concept from scratch, has owned a franchise, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be here again.
Plus, we needed to finish that bottle of wine from Donkey Market, right?
There you go.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
So we kind of touched on last episode of, when something doesn't work out, but we also kind of touched on buying a franchise, getting into something new. So that's what this episode really, let's get into the specifics of buying a franchise.
Yeah, what happened was Jessica with Payroll Bulk, the corporate, because we own a franchise, and I saw on LinkedIn where she put an article by Anthony Caliendo, and it is on checkly.com, and the title is 7 Questions to Ask Yourself If You're Thinking of Buying a Franchise.
Perfect.
All right, so we'll go over the 7 things.
All right.
You ready, Chris?
Ready.
All right. Number 1, how much can I afford to pay for a franchise? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of people, don't realize the big cost up front. I mean, you're paying a franchise fee, buying that logo, that name, their process. That's the biggest thing. You're buying their process.
Telling you, hey, here's how this business works.
Right, exactly. So you have to have money to buy that and then to start the business. What do you have to do? Is there build out? Is there equipment? How much is it going to take to get this up and going?
Staffing.
Right.
Some businesses, service-based business, we were able to start it with just me working in the business. But clearly, if we were getting into a franchise, you feel like you can't do everything. You can't, prep the food.
Yeah.
Make
if
the
you have a
food,
location
serve.
or whatever, if you're serving people, you got to have employees. So there's going to be cost, training costs, but, before you even have a dollar come in, you're going to have to be paying those employees to teach them how to do it.
Isn't there a website that lists all of the franchise and you can filter by cost?
Yeah, there's actually more than one.
I can't remember.
I've done it because when my life was changing recently, I went, well, maybe I'll just buy a franchise. And so I started.
Here's how much money I have. Sort, please. It's like buying clothes.
They can because a lot of these things is not just what's out of pocket, but a lot of them have minimum requirements. They have minimum liquidity, which means how much are you worth on paper? See, I look great on paper, but I'm really not that great.
Yeah.
But I look great on paper. And so they won't even talk to you unless you look at a certain level on paper.
And
Yeah.
some are going to require more than others. I think of, a particular gym franchise. Theirs is way higher than, a service-based business.
Yeah, for some of them, for about $150,000, you can get into quite a number. But, that's how much you got to be worth to even start talking, not necessarily how much you'll spend getting it open.
Right. Yeah, they want to make sure you have the backing. If you're not making money for 6 months, whatever, you need to have that money, and they want to make sure that you can support that.
Because it's not you open the doors and boom,
Right,
money starts
yeah.
rolling in.
Well, if you suck
Yeah.
and don't have anything, I'm not take that back. It's just sketch. All right, number 2, what industry do you want to be in?
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what are you passionate about? If you don't enjoy something, why would you want to buy that business and be there all day just because some of the places make a bunch of money? I mean...
Well, I know a lady who owns a Mosquito Joe's. She's great at that. Me, I have no business being in business with bugs.
Yeah.
It just would not work.
Well, and how you are with people, that's a big factor too. Service business or, a product or there's a lot of different.
If you don't like people, don't go into retail.
Yes,
And plan to work the
absolutely.
business yourself. You're not going to do
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, the first time somebody's upset about something and lets you know it, you don't want to answer badly.
My
you don't
husband,
want to...
her father, when the oil and gas crapped out not too long ago, a couple of years ago, so that company closed down. So he was looking for a job. He said, well, I'll drive a school bus. I said, oh, hell no, you won't. I can do that. I said, you are going to go to jail. You don't like people. Yeah, you cuss everybody in traffic. No.
Yeah,
Just not good for him. I love him.
right. Yeah, it's not a fit.
Can you see your dad doing that?
I'm speechless.
All right, number 3. Anyway, find your fit and your passion. All right. How will I support myself until my franchise turns a profit?
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to the liquidity. Do you have the money to support yourself? Because you're not going to be making money day one.
So putting on your CPA hat, do you see a guideline as far as have this much for this amount of time or?
Oh, it's 3 to 6 months minimum.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have that backup. Yeah, I'd make it for 6 because some franchises or even businesses or anything, it takes longer to get off the ground.
You've got to think about the expense of promoting that business, the marketing, the advertising.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to show number 1 of ours. Eat while you build it. Eat while you grow it. What'd I say?
Oh, gosh.
Do you remember that? We've got 40 plus shows out now, so I don't know, but you got to be able to eat. So it's not about eating today. It's about eating next month and the month after that and the month after that.
Right, especially if you and your spouse or your partner are both going to do this, then absolutely. I mean, if you're lucky enough, you have a spouse who's going to stay in their job, that can make a big difference. But if you're both going to do this, I mean, you really have to understand, do I have savings? Do I have where's it coming from?
Exactly.
Can you afford to do it? Number 4. Cadie, you're better at this one than I am.
What is it?
Can I follow the rules? I hate rules. I hate them.
So, and some franchises are stricter than others. I
Right.
feel like some have more strict guidelines, some are more flexible. It really just depends. So that would be an important question, to have in mind when you're meeting with this potential franchisor is, how strict are they? As far as, do you have to use a certain POS system? Do you have to use certain vendors? The marketing campaigns.
If they say make a change, UPS store did that. They because UPS stores are franchises, and they used to be brown.
Yeah.
Purple.
All right, brown.
No?
You're colorblind.
Yeah, I am.
All right, it's very rare, but she is. So we used to argue every Easter about what color the Easter eggs were. But anyway, there was one store that didn't go red, and they were still brown, and it was going to cost them, I don't know, buku money to be able to do this. So if they say go change your color, you got to change your color. Can you follow those
Right.
rules?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that logos change over the years, and if you have the old logo, you have to update it. You may have spent $1,000 on the sign, but you got to spend another $1,000 to buy this new sign with the new logo.
Because you're a part of this
Right.
national brand.
Exactly.
Even though you're operating completely independently, there's still those guidelines that you have to follow.
Something we've seen going to franchise conferences and stuff like that is that people buy a franchise and then they think they know more than that franchisor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. If you knew more about that, you would be the franchisor, but you're not. You're looking for something to be successful, and you joined up with something that already is, so do it their way.
That's the magical thing about a franchise is they know what they're doing. They know what works, or else they wouldn't be franchising. So listen to them.
They already worked the bugs out.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're paying for. So
Yeah. When you pay that royalty, because franchisees, which is everybody in this room right now or has been, and so you have to pay them corporate a percentage of sales, and that's called royalties. Number 5, is the franchisee location a good fit? Do they tell you where to go? Because people buy territories. Tell about that.
yeah, a lot of franchises they like to sell multi-unit deals where you buy a whole area and you're going to open 3-4 stores. They'll do some research and say this market can support this many stores, but your location in that market is very important. You want to make sure you're in a location that works for you. I mean, one franchise I'm working with right now is a breakfast concept. We don't want to be buried in the back of a shopping center that doesn't come to life until 10 o'clock. We want to be out front on the road on this side to where the traffic flows in the morning and people are going to be able to easily get in and out. So
I think about, they're not franchises, but I think of some of these drugstores popping up, and I'm just like, how are people going to get in and out
Yeah.
of there?
How about that one that went up on University and Airport Boulevard?
That's the one
There's
I'm
no
thinking
way.
of. You would have
Yeah.
to be turning, I think about the logistics of that.
You got to keep going right. You can't do anything but go right.
yeah, you're only getting the customers that are heading east.
How are you going to get the customers going left?
Yeah. But there could be enough, so that could be it.
So see Chris Harle for your commercial franchise location needs.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, plug for you. Number 6, can I resell my franchise? You're the expert. on
Oh
this.
yeah, that's a big one. one thing you really want to look at, if you want to get out of it, are you selling a business or are you selling a job? I mean, if you're working this 24/7, you're selling a job. You're not selling a business.
Ooh,
You want to make sure that you have
that's brilliant.
something to sell other than just work for somebody else to do.
that was heavy.
I've never thought about that.
Make the business about the business, not about you.
Right.
Same kind of concept. No, that's really, really good. Also, do they have a penalty for you getting out, or is there a transfer fee to sell to somebody else, and who pays it?
Yeah, a lot of times there's a transfer fee.
With UPS stores, I know that there's transfer fees. So all of that to be in consideration. Now, I don't see this one on here yet, but no matter what, get a lawyer to read the franchise agreement. Those
Yeah.
things are 2 feet tall, and it's full of little
Pay that
legalese.
money.
Yeah,
It's worth
absolutely.
it. Yes. I just say, Kevin, read this. Tell me to do it or not do it. All right, number 7. Drum roll, please. Do I have the right skills to own a business? Oh, that's a $64 million question.
That is. Well, and sometimes franchises, you've got to be super involved, or the franchisor wants you involved in the day-to-day, and then others, they purchase a franchise and they're not in the business necessarily. They hire someone to be in that role.
Yeah, that's something you have to look at when you're buying the franchise is what skills do you have? Are you going to be just somebody who's keeping the books and making sure everything's running right? Or are you going to be doing this?
Serving
day-to-day? Yeah,
customers,
exactly.
chopping vegetables.
Right.
If you don't like people, don't serve the food. All right, I'm going to read what it says under this number 7, and y'all say true every time you agree with something that's being said. All right. Small business owners wear 100 hats at once.
True.
Must be very hands-on.
True.
Many franchises require interaction with the public for sales or service.
True.
But not everybody's a people person. If you don't like people, don't do it. Entrepreneurship is typically long hours,
True.
especially during the first few years after launching the business.
True. This person knew what they were talking
Yeah.
about.
And your personal life may need to take a back seat.
Amen.
Yes.
So, but I want to touch on this because I've met people partnerships who own a franchise together, and it's really interesting to see how opposite they are. So, I mean, just like you and I,
Oh, yeah.
you're more of the people person as far as promoting and, all that jazz, whereas I like actually the systems within the business, the operations.
Rocket fuel. Remember Billy Williams, our first show came out, first or second show. And Billy Williams, who's a financial advisor here in town, he texted me and he said, have you read this book? And I said, no. And he said, Rocket Fuel. He said, you've got to read it. And he said, it's you and Cadie made over. And so I got it on Audible because that's when I'm driving, I listen to podcasts or Audibles. And it's about every visionary needs an integrator. Now, my brother got offended, I think, because I said, I'm the visionary, you're an integrator. I think he got offended. I meant that in the highest compliment ever, because people may have big ideas and be big people and type A personalities, but unless you have that person or are able to do it yourself, very few can. Cadie and people like you to make things happen, I think is amazing.
Give me my clipboard and checklist and systems and processes.
But it works for us.
Well, and especially, someone who is wanting to franchise their business, let's say they start a restaurant, want to franchise, they need that person to be able to put all of those systems on paper in order to share that knowledge, because that is what potential franchisees will be buying in the future.
Yeah, the creative person is not necessarily the one that needs to be meeting with the lawyers going over contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because you wear 100 hats in your business doesn't mean that you can do everything.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, if you have a partner and you both want to do the same thing, who's gonna do this other thing?
Exactly.
I mean,
it's got to be a flow, a yin and yang.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, cheers to having a franchise. Cheers to knowing if you should have a franchise. And what else?
Cheers to following the rules.
yeah.
I can't
Yin
take
and
it.
yang.
Cheers to Chris for coming on and doing 2 shows with us.
Thank
we have
you very
really
much.
enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
thanks again for having
Wealth
me.
of information.
Do you have any other insight besides the things that they listed as far as having a franchise, something that you've learned or wish you had known before getting into it?
I mean, franchises can be great. They're a great opportunity for people, especially if you've never been in business, but be ready to follow the process, know what you're passionate about, and just make sure that it meets what your requirements are. Just figure that out before you figure out what you want to do. So
Awesome. Thank you
right.
so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Everybody, we hope you got some good value and information out of today's show. And please go into iTunes and review and give us a great big thumbs up. Also, we're out on iHeartRadio app. Where else? YouTube,
Facebook, share.
Facebook. I even put it out on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Just, if you could share and like, we would really appreciate it.
All right. We like having you listen to us.
Y'all, thank you so much for listening and being here with us today. I'm Karen.
I'm Cadie. Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.